as part of our meditation this evening. And these words from one of the great Eastern poets, Hayati, who lived in the 18th, 19th century. And he addresses these words to that presence which each of us feels in the form of a guiding light, in the form of our inner teacher, who remains eternally with us through the ups and the downs, protecting us and reminding us there's nothing to fear. Hayati says, before there was a trace of this world of men, I carried the memory of a lock of your hair, a stray end gathered within me, although unknown. Inside that invisible realm, your face, like the sun, longed to be seen, until each separate object was finally flung into vision. From the moment of time's first drawn breath, love resides in us, a treasure locked into the heart's hidden vault. Oh, what can I do but thank you 100 times? For your face illumines the shrine of Hayati's eyes, constantly present and lovely. In meditation, we come close to that face. We can call it the face of love, invisible, unknown but known. And when all thought, all the past, all the projections, when all of that drops away, it's such a joy to realize that face is there, always. In this silent period, relax, let go, let the tension drop away, let the memories drop away, and allow yourself to disappear. So that you and I will be in direct contact with that light that illumines our entire life. Our great Guru, Sri Brahmananda, always gave us the extra meaning, though, of these holidays, because he was a Vedantist and saw things from the expanded view. It's like a lens being opened so that you can see not only our present day, but the days of the past, and perhaps the days also that are coming. And he talked more about, on this weekend's observances, he talked more about the spirit of sacrifice that is meaningful not only for those who are serving to protect us, but the feeling of sacrifice that has with it the accompanying feeling of compassion. And we all know that feeling. And it's a feeling that we should try and nurture in ourselves. A feeling of empathy for those who are suffering, and even a feeling of empathy for those who are joyful, celebrating. We should be able to feel others' pain, others' joy, as if it were our own. It's the theme, really, of the Bhagavad Gita. An entire chapter is devoted to the importance of sacrifice in our life. It doesn't even have to be an overt gesture of service. It could be, as I said this afternoon, just a change in the way we think about others. It's called the great sacrifice, and that great sacrifice is the sacrifice of the ego. It's the ego saying, I surrender, you want to be good, I'll back away. It's saying to the ego, it's enough of you today. I don't want to continue thinking negative thoughts of anyone. I want this to be a day where I'm in my real form. So that's the real sacrifice, the sacrifice of the ego. On Guru Purnima Day, our Guru encouraged us to bring up a coconut so that he could, coconut being representing our ego because it has such a tough nut to crack. And Guruji would take a hammer, and depending on who the person was giving him the coconut, if it were a person who was looking just to get his attention but was, full of showmanship as he did it, Guruji would search in the coconut for the hardest spot, and then he'd give it a great whack, and when the coconut didn't crack, he would say, sorry, you come next year. But if it was someone really genuine, very, very sincere, then he would find that little tender spot, like with a baby's head, there's a little tender spot in the coconut. He'd find that spot and give it just a little whack, and the coconut would be open. He says, very fine. And accept the coconut, and he would drink the milk, and then he'd pass the coconut around, and he'd sprinkle it. It was a grand occasion. But you took your chances when you offered him a coconut. I remember. It's very difficult. We can surrender our money, we can surrender our sleep sometimes, we can surrender our possessions, but not that feeling of dualism, that I am someone either higher or lower, I am someone either better or worse. And that's the sign of ignorance. So when we can turn that over, especially when we recognize in ourselves that we're not in our real form, but we're in our ego form. He told us that on Memorial Weekend, we should remember all those in the past who have sacrificed for the future generations to come, but also acknowledge that there is that, and we'll talking about it, because He said, we have an entire treasure chest of love and compassion and the willingness, the potential for sacrificing of the ego and of the name and fame that the ego seeks all its life and respect. So usually, as you know, some of you, I like to enter into a dialogue, but since the program is shorter this evening and there are 2 other readings that I know you're going to benefit from as much as I did when I read them again in the last couple of days. This one is an excerpt from one of Sri Brahmananda's papers, kind of a warning to us. It is a warning, but as he did all the time, out of his kindness and his love, he warned us, and then he told us how to guard, protect ourselves, so that that warning did not affect us directly. And he starts right out by saying, the problems of our life are not going to decrease. Rather, they are going to escalate day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, life after life. I can just hear Anna saying, oh boy, that's some message to give on my weekend. But as I said, there's better news coming in the 3rd paragraph. And Guruji's telling us that it's a fact. And if we were students of history, ancient history, we would see that sometimes it's many lifetimes that even this planet is in a state of contraction. And then many lifetimes it expands, it opens. So we're talking about hundreds, maybe thousands of years, where the planet itself opens and then contracts, opens and then contracts. But it seems to us, going through these ups and downs, contractions that sometimes are in one day. We have a day when everything contracts, and then we hear good news, and everything opens up. It's like this cycle can occur in one day, in one person's mind. What goes on with the cycles of the planets, with the countries, the nations. So the news doesn't sound good. However, Guruji is saying, stand up, and open your eye of wisdom. Because every problem, every sickness going on in your life has a cause and an effect, or result. The cause, he's telling us what the cause is. The cause of every problem in our life is that we cannot comprehend our innermost voice, the inner guiding light, our inner radar. You know, like a plane has radar to protect it, we have that inner guiding light, that inner guiding force. I hadn't chosen the readings together, but that first poem of Hayatis, in which he thanks that inner guiding light 100 times. We count that thank you 1,008 times, yogis, when they say their mala beads. We think not only on Guru Purnima Day, but when we have that connection going on through meditation, through the witnessing process, where we feel directly connected to that inner voice, knowing no matter what's going on, how bad it looks, that we're never alone. The Gurus, or I should say the Guru comes in many forms. The Guru, the inner light, the Sadguru, the Guru within, never abandons us We may abandon the Guru, but the Guru, that's the tradition, like I brought you up. It's the tradition. The Guru can never abandon us. The Guru is with us eternally. Comes in different forms, sometimes in the form of children, sometimes in the form of even animals. But it comes through open conduits, innocent conduits. But the important thing is to stand up and be aware. Open the eye of wisdom. Because every problem, every sickness has a cause and an effect, or a result. And the cause of every problem is that we cannot or do not comprehend our innermost voice, the inner guiding light, our inner radar. Our goal, he says, at this ashram, if you want to know the mission statement of our ashram, it is this, as written by Sri Brahmananda Saraswati, as described, as spoken of. Our goal in opening this ashram, in sustaining this ashram, is that each individual become a center of physical and mental health. A center of that. A center of peace. A center for East-West unity. And you'll hear in reading from Osho, Guruji was not speaking of the unity of the Eastern countries and the Western countries alone. No, he was speaking more Vedantically. He was speaking again about our problem. He said, our goal is that each individual become a center of peace, a center for East-West unity, because each individual should have this unity of mind and spirit. That's what he's talking about. This joining of mind and spirit, of matter and energy. To achieve this, all we need is a meditative attitude. And above all, we need contact with our inner guiding light. We need contact. And the only way that contact can come about is if the ego steps out of the way. We know we can wake up on a cloudy day and we say something very foolish in America. Someone says to us, so what's the weather like? And we say, oh, the sun isn't out today. What does that mean? If the sun weren't out, we wouldn't be alive. No, in India they say, oh, they never say the sun isn't out. Or they don't say the sun isn't shining. Of course the sun is shining. They say there are many clouds. So our sun is perpetually shining. It's eternally out. But there are many coverings, many clouds in the way of that shining. And those clouds are the result of wrong, polluted thinking. There's pollution because of this wrong thinking. So I was very drawn. I have, as all of Guruji's students, I have files and files of his writings and his talks. And we're just so lucky that there are so many of our great teachers who left that legacy of their writings, their talks. But this had an attraction for me because there is something wonderful going on, as I mentioned earlier, at the ashram. And that is there is a very intense and beautiful and moving teachers training program going on. It's one of the largest we've had, and I became very thoughtful, saying how lucky these students are to be training in this place. But then I became worried. At first I was thinking that's wonderful, and they're getting a fantastic foundation. But then I became worried how to remind them. And I think it should be the charge of Yogananda and all the ashram teachers to remind all students, whether in this program or other programs, that they're receiving a wonderful foundation. But as our teacher said, the real challenge comes afterwards, when you have to be a moving ashram out there, and you have to apply what you've been learning to your everyday life. Moving ashram means that every person with whom you come into contact feels as though he or she also had that month in the country, that month with these fabulous vibrations and wonderful teachers and wonderful director. I think it's Yogananda and also Nikki, School of Yoga, but it's Yogananda's special gift to us that he agreed to do this. Radha, Maba, I think, is involved. Nikki, ashram teachers. These are our ashram teachers. But I have to tell you that something is very clear to all of us ashram teachers. That's the spark sitting right here, Yogananda. Right, teachers? No? Even the teachers agree. He has a name of Yogananda, David Hollander, meaning yoga, the bliss of merging with Supreme Consciousness. And his bliss is to feel he's transmitting some of that joy, what he has imbibed to all of you. And all the teachers, all the people trained by Sri Brahmananda, learned that the guest, or the student who comes here, the guest, the student, is God. Those were his words. And our joy is imparting to you what it was like to have someone with unconditional love, going through all kinds of illnesses of the body, and yet electing to remain with us 10 more years after the doctor said that he couldn't possibly live 10 more years. Not only did he live, but he defied the doctors. They told him, you just keep rest, do not give programs, let your disciples and students do. And he said, no, I won't give programs. He told the doctor, you are right, you are very wise, I will take rest. But the doctors never knew what he meant when he said he would take rest. He said he took rest when he offered programs. If he didn't offer programs, that was very difficult for him. Doctors told him not to travel. He continued to travel. Doctors said at most he could live in that body 3 years, 10 years. What is that that sustains a body that's had heart attacks and a stroke? What is that? Love. Just love. Kindness. And that's why the great poets know that it's really love that will solve the problems of the world. But we have to start very close. We have to stop criticizing people around us for not having enough love. Let's begin very near each one of us and nourish that love that sits as that treasure chest in our heart. That spreads. That's like I don't want to use a bad word, but it's like a good plague. It goes from one to the other. I wish I could say any questions. No. I'll put a plug in right now for our Ananda Ashram Satsang in the city. It takes place every month on the first Wednesday. And for those who don't have the address, I have the new address up here on 23rd Street. And if you have questions, I'll try to answer them then. Or those who are from Jivamukti, you ask Amalama and Ashok, they know everything. So anything you have to ask, you bring to them. When can they bring it? Tomorrow? They're looking at me. You bring tomorrow. Any question that's brought here, Guruji will answer for you. You just open your mouth and it will be. You're just radios the way we are radios. So whoever your gurus are, Patabi Joyce will speak directly through you. He is, right? Speaking through you. So I'm not going to ask if you have any questions, but I will say if you do ask any of the teachers who are here. I'm going to read now from a book called Yoga, The Science of the Soul. The lovely, kind of unknown book of Osho's. But I liked it because, again, it's advice to those who are working very hard to develop a foundation for these teachings in yoga. But then the next big challenge is to apply them so that they stay with you. If you don't use this knowledge, if you don't share this knowledge, you'd be surprised how quickly it disappears. You have to keep nurturing it. You have to keep it in motion, in movement. And that goes not only for the teachers in training, but for all of us. Too many times, according to Sri Brahmananda at least, we have been with great teachers. They've invested in us lifetime after lifetime. And just when we were ready for a big breakthrough, we ran away. Something attracted us from the world. Some old simmering of the ego took hold, and we just disappeared. How do I know that? Because that's what he said to me. He said, every lifetime, you are here, and I invest in you, and then because your ego can't face me, you run away in the middle of the night. I don't even have a chance with you. And he said that on one of the first conversations I had with him this lifetime. I almost ran away that day when he said that, because it sounded so strange to me. But over the years, 30 years, now it's 47, 30 years in his physical body, I began to recognize, as did all his disciples, that he never said anything that wasn't true. He never predicted anything that didn't come to pass. So if that applied to me, it had to have applied to you too, because you're not enlightened yet, right? So maybe this lifetime we won't run away, and we will apply it. And that will bring in a new golden incarnation. And that was the guarantee. We need to break through our conditioning, break through our tendencies, as Patanjali said, those old vrittis, in order to have a complete transformation which will bring on a completely new incarnation. So much easier than this one. So I have just enough time to read this. It says, and then maybe I'll have time for a few questions. This is a question that was posed to Osho, and the question is this. You have said that the spiritual endeavor may take 20 to 30 years, or it may take even lives. And even then you said that's early. But the Western mind seems to be result-oriented, impatient, and too practical. It wants instantaneous results. Religious techniques come and go like other fads in the West. So then, how do you intend, Osho's asked, to introduce yoga to this Western world? to this Western mind. And being Osho, right away he says, I'm not interested in the Western mind or the Eastern mind. Those are just two aspects of one mind. I'm just interested in the mind. And this East-West dichotomy, that's not very meaningful. It's not even significant now. That's why I pointed out the different meaning that Sri Brahmananda had for East-West unity. That East-West unity has to occur in us. That's not about nations. Nations are made up of people like us. Again, we have to begin very near. We can't look at other people. We have to, as Guruji gave out in his one and only mantra, one mantra he gave out, which was, mind your own business. He said, if you say that 1,008 times, then I may have some hope of being successful with you. Just mind your own business, our business being to remain in our true form, to remain in the here now, not in the world of dualism. So Osho is saying, very wonderful talk, answer that he gave. There are Eastern minds in the West, and there are Western minds in the East. The East is now also in a hurry. The old East has disappeared completely. Let's see, I'm going to move on. Yoga says, and please, Osho reminds, let this penetrate you very deeply, because it will be very meaningful. Yoga says that the more you are impatient, the more time will be needed for your transformation. I'm so glad I brought Amala Ma up here. She laughs, and you know when he's being hilarious. Yoga says that the more you are impatient, the more time will be needed for your transformation. The more you are in a hurry, the more you will be delayed. Hurry itself creates such a confusion that delay has to result. The less you are in a hurry, the earlier will be the results. If you're infinitely patient, this very moment, transformation can happen. I'll say it again. If you are infinitely patient, then this very moment, transformation can happen. If you are ready to wait forever, you may not have to wait even for the next moment. This very moment, the thing can happen. Why? Because it's not a question of time. It's a question of your quality of mind. Infinite patience, simply not hankering for results, gives you that depth. Hurrying actually makes you shallow. You're in such a hurry that you cannot be deep. The moment you are not interested here, in this moment, but rather what is going to happen in the next, that moment you're interested only in results. You're moving ahead of yourself, and that movement is mad. I think one of the reasons I was so drawn to this is because most of us have only, at most of us in the world, have at most a month or two to spend in a place like this. As Yogananda said when he was first talking about the teacher's training program, he was trying to encourage people to come. He said, you could get the same program in the city, maybe even a different program, a better program, but you won't have the depth of this experience. Because at this ashram, you're in the presence of truth. You're in the presence of Yoga Vedanta. You're in the presence of the great master and many great masters who visited this ashram and left their footprint here. So, and you're in nature. That's what makes it so special. However, even here, don't be in a hurry. I would suggest to you what I suggest to people who took the silent retreat, who were here for the silent, every silent retreat I say, that when you're involved in the retreat, and even now when you're here for the month, take that extra special time to be alone. Don't use free time. I don't want to impose anything on you, but don't make the mistake that others have made and just were so happy to be with like-minded individuals that they spent a lot of time socializing and sharing and hugging, when it would have been so much more valuable to take a walk alone around the lake and be with yourself and be in touch with what's happening during this glorious month for you. That's for everybody, even the teachers involved. I try, it's not easy for me, but at this ashram, I try to grab a moment here, a moment there, when I'm feeling the presence of Sri Brahmananda. I'm feeling your presence in the silence. The silence is probably the most valuable part of your teacher training program, and the most valuable part of any visit that any guest pays to the ashram. Karmananda, is this not right?
I'm overwhelmed by what you're saying.
Because it is
so true.
You can't feel it if you're talking. You can't feel it if you're just enjoying that food so that everybody... No, just enjoy the food, but enjoy that embrace. You may not have felt it yet, but anytime you're here, you're being embraced by this Guru. That's what he did, whether he was traveling when this ashram was open. He traveled a lot. People still felt, whether he was in India or Europe or in the islands, they still felt his embrace. And there's no reason why we can't feel his embrace even now. But the mind has to be quiet in order to feel that embrace. And what is that embrace? It's not just Sri Brahmananda. It's the embrace of the gurus you've had throughout all these lifetimes, but in different forms. One guru, many different forms of gurus. Even in one lifetime, Guru used to bow down to his gurus, Sri Gandeshwarananji, Sri Bhagavandas. But also Swami Chidananda came, he bowed down. A child came and looked and sounded like a guru, Guru bowed down. A little animal came and rubbed up against Guruji, and Guruji bowed down. Because wherever there's love, wherever there's innocency, wherever there's that embrace, it's the Guru. You could not be sitting here if you did not sit with the Guru other lifetimes. It's a magnetic calling you back home. So, the moment you are not interested here, in this moment, but rather what is going to happen in the next, you will find you are interested in results. You're moving ahead of yourself, and your movement is mad. I'm glad you're laughing, I am too, because we know what it feels like to be out of control, because the ego is in so much of a hurry with its ambition and desires. So you may run too much, you may travel too much, you will not reach anywhere, because the goal to be reached is just here. Not this ashram, but in this here now moment. You have to drop into it, not reach anywhere. And the dropping into it is possible only if you are totally, infinitely patient. I will tell you one famous Zen anecdote, says Osho. It's one of my favorite Zen anecdotes. I can hear it all the time because it's a story of my life. And if it's a story of my life, you can understand it's a story of your life as well. Because we're all on this journey together. We're in the same boat. Same boat. We keep bailing out. Keep bailing out all the ego nonsense that comes into our boat, threatening to drown us. We're all bailing out. It's a huge boat, but we're in it at the same time and for the same purpose. Listen to this lovely Zen story that you may have heard before, but tonight, being this special weekend with this lovely group of people, you will hear it in a different way, I think. I did when I read it this morning again. A Zen monk is passing through a forest. Suddenly he becomes aware that a tiger is following him. Do I need to tell you who the tiger is? I'll help you. It's 3 letters. Suddenly he becomes aware that a tiger is following him. So he starts running. But his running, the monk's running, is of a Zen type. He's not in a hurry. Zen monks are never in a hurry. And he's not mad. His running is smooth, harmonious. He's enjoying it. And what is the monk thinking? He's thinking, the tiger seems to be enjoying it, so why shouldn't I? Then the monk comes near a precipice. Just to escape from the tiger as part of the game, he jumps and hangs on to the branch of a tree. And then he looks downward. Standing there in the valley below him is a lion waiting for him. And just as he sees the lion waiting for him, the tiger comes and waits underneath the branch. He's standing just near that tree on the hilltop. But there's the monk hanging in between, just from a branch, and a lion is waiting for him deep down below. What does the monk do? He laughs. Then he looks more closely, and he sees that 2 mice are gnawing through the branch. There's one white mouse and one black mouse. The monk laughs very loudly. He says, this is life. Day and night, white mice, black mice, good mice, negative mice. Wherever I go, death is waiting. This is life. Wherever I go, death is waiting. This is life. And it is said that he achieves a satori, the monk's first glimpse of enlightenment. This is life. Nothing to worry about. This is how things go. It's so funny because, you know, our life parallels our study. I was up I very seldom had time to go up to the gift shop, but I needed to get a couple of malas. And I was talking to Yenemsa, and we were talking about different things, some positive, some negative. And I stopped talking and I started just wrapping something, and all of a sudden Yenemsa, I don't know if she's here, but Yenemsa gave one of her lovely giggles. Just a lovely little young girlish laugh. I hadn't said anything. And even she looked surprised. And I said, Yenemsa, what were you thinking? She said, I don't know. I said, well, what were you laughing about? She said, I don't know. Just life. Just life. I don't know what happened on some other level. But they tell us the first few seconds of our enlightenment. Do you know what we do? We laugh. We laugh. And if anybody asks us, why are you laughing? No words. That laugh is our birthright. That's the ecstasy, that's the bliss, that's the ananda of your life. Ananda, this ashram, sits in your heart as a joyful, girlish laugh. Whether you're male or female, doesn't matter. When that laugh rings out, that's a yes to life. And it's a yes to death. Because the death is only the death of the body. Life is life. He laughs, this monk, and says, this is life. Nothing to worry about. This is how things go. Wherever you go, death is waiting. And even if you don't go anywhere, day and night are cutting your life. And so he laughs. And then he looks around, because now it's fixed. Now there's no worry. When death is certain, what is the worry? It's only in uncertainty is there worry. When everything is certain, there's no worry. Now it has become a destiny. So the monk looks around for a way to enjoy these few moments, these last few moments. He becomes aware that just by the side of the branch are some strawberries. So he decides to pick a few. He holds on with one hand, and with the other hand, he reaches out for the strawberries. He tastes them, and what do you think? They're the best strawberries he had ever eaten. He enjoys them, and it is said that's the moment he became totally enlightened. He has become a Buddha because death is so near, and even then, he's not in any hurry. He can enjoy a strawberry. So sweet. That's how it is. I told a lie. It's not that. I just was tasting the strawberry. It's sweet. The taste of it is so sweet. He thanks existence. It is said that in that moment, everything disappears. The tiger, the lion, the branch, and he himself. He has become the cosmos. This is patience, absolute patience. Wherever you are, in that moment, and this is instruction. Why I chose this reading out of hundreds, maybe thousands. Why? I didn't choose it. It found himself. Himself. See how I talk? I'm strange. It found himself? Only I know what that means. Only I know what that means. It found himself. These are instructions for me, for you. It's for everybody. Even that little boy, my friend Cassio. Hi. He doesn't know it, but there are seeds being planted, even in his young heart. He's not getting this through language. He's getting this through direct transmission from him, from me, to him, right to his mother. And we are receiving seeds, even if we don't realize. the impact of them right now. There's something that's going to blossom at some point, and we will find ourselves, as the monk did, instantly transformed. We won't even know what happened. We'll just feel different. I'll just finish this. This is patience wherever you are. In that moment, enjoy that moment without asking for the future. Don't ask about what will come as a result. No futuring in the mind, just the present moment, the nowness of the moment, and you are satisfied. Then there's no need to go anywhere. Wherever you are, from that very point, you will drop into the ocean of consciousness. You will become one with the cosmos. The same thing. Whatever you find is helpful and wise, understand it's coming from my Guru, who is always with me, all around. And whatever is not so beneficial, please forgive me. Trouble is, our mind is not interested in the here and now, meaning the ordinary mind. The mind is interested somewhere in the future, interested in the results of what is being done. So the question is, in a way, relevant for such a mind. The modern mind, it will be better to call it the Western mind. The modern mind, our mind in other words, is constantly obsessed with the future, with the result of our actions, not with the here and now. So how can this mind, you ask, be taught yoga? This mind can be taught yoga because this future orientation is leading nowhere. Our future is leading nowhere. All yogis' future. And this future orientation that others are creating is creating constant misery for the modern mind. We have created a hell, and we have created too much of it. Now, either man will have to disappear from this planet because we don't represent mankind. We're the very special group in the pursuit of truth. We're talking about the millions who don't even know that it's only the body and mind that dies at the time of our extinction, that we can never be extinct because we are consciousness itself. And he said, we, ordinary mankind, or the Western minds, have created a hell, and we have created too much of it. Now, either man will have to disappear from this planet Earth, or he will have to transform himself. Either humanity will have to die completely because this hell cannot be continued anymore, or we will have to go through a mutation. And he is talking to us at least some of the time, because we know some of the time, hopefully not most of the time, we're always goal-oriented. Everything we're doing is to get some result. And he's telling us we're leading ourselves right into hell. We should live in the here now. And in that here now, we will replenish ourselves so we're better able to help others who are involved in relative life. That's our job as yogis. You cannot keep this to yourself. When you begin to experience the benefits and the extraordinary, exquisite delight that comes from this understanding, you have to share it. There has to be this way of compassion that the Buddha spoke about. You cannot keep it to yourself. It's not possible. We're just so grateful. Therefore, yoga can become very meaningful and significant for the modern mind, because yoga can save you. It can teach you again how to be here and now, how to forget past, how to forget future, and how to remain in the present moment with such intensity that this moment becomes timeless. The very moment becomes eternity. Patanjali can become more and more significant. In the coming years, techniques for human transformation will become more and more important. They are already becoming so all over the world. Whether you call them yoga or Zen, or you call them Sufi methods or Tantra methods, in many, many ways, all the old traditional teachings are erupting. The yogic techniques are already becoming so all over the world, more and more important. Whether you call them yoga or Zen, or you call them Sufi methods or Tantra methods, in many, many ways, all the old traditional teachings are erupting. Some deep need is there. And those who are thinking anywhere, in any part of the world, those who are thinking have become interested to find again how humanity in the past existed with such beatitude, with such bliss, with such terrible, poor conditions in their lives. How did such rich men exist in the past, while we, with such a rich environment, rich situation, why are we so inwardly poor? Very good question. This is a paradox. This is the modern paradox. For the first time on the earth, we have created rich scientific societies, and they are the most ugly and the most unhappy. And in the past, there was no scientific technology, no affluence, nothing of comfort, but humanity was existing in such a deep, peaceful milieu. Happy, thankful. What has happened? We can be happier than anyone, but we have lost contact with our real existence. That existence is here, now, and an impatient mind cannot be in contact with it. Impatience is like a feverish, mad state of mind. You go on running. Even if the goal comes, you cannot stand there, because the running has become just a habit. Even if you reach the goal, you will miss it. You will pass by it, because you cannot stop running. If you can stop, then that goal need not be searched for. Final sentence of this excerpt, his sentencia. Zen Master Hui Huai has said, seek and you will lose. Don't seek and you can have it immediately. Stop and it is here. Run, it is nowhere. I always feel it's like a hot thing in my face. It's so intense, not just for you, for me. Every message, every reading I do, especially to you, contains a very important message for me. I'm just the reader. I'm in the same boat. I'm reading to you, and I'm reading, lest you see it's true. Anybody sneezes in the middle of a sentence, it's absolutely true. I'm the same boat as you, and we just learned we should just row and bail out. Just keep bailing out. We don't even have to row. Because the goal is here, now. There's no other shore. Everything is here. Let's just take 1 minute. It's Krishna Day.